Tonight on Cronkite News, election reflection. Arizona officials discuss the state's historic voter turnout in 2020 and the efforts by some to make voting more difficult.
Plus, the UK variant of COVID-19 has been found in Arizona. So, what does that mean for us?
And later this half hour on Break It Down, the mental toll on teens during the pandemic.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to this Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Karina Espinosa.
And I'm Jackson Zuber. Thank you for joining us. With the dust settling from last November's election, Arizona officials are dissecting the historic 2020 cycle and looking ahead, as some lawmakers are moving to make voting more difficult. Faith Abercrombie is here to explain the latest from the state capitol.
This morning, the Voter Protection Program brought Battleground Secretary of States together to discuss voting rights after the 2020 election. With an election during a pandemic, Arizona made some adjustments like using larger voting stations to ensure social distancing and encouraged voting by mail to help create a fair and safe voter experience.
This week, my office will introduce a legislative package that would streamline election administration, expand voting rights, and enhance election security. By giving election officials more time to process ballots and by increasing transparency in that process, the package is designed to build even more trust among voters.
Arizona lawmakers are proposing bills like removing voters from the permanent early voter list if they have not participated in 2 consecutive election cycles, or the idea of who exactly can receive their ballot by mail. Lawmakers in other battleground states are also working to create stricter voter requirements. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, a bipartisan public policy institute, 28 states have introduced more than 100 restrictive bills. That's 3 times the number of similar legislation introduced last year. In the Broadcast Center, Faith Abercrombie, Cronkite News.
Today, Maricopa County began an independent audit of election equipment. The County Board of Supervisors voted to approve the audit last week to put conspiracy theories questioning the election's integrity to rest. During the audit, 2 independent firms will examine county voting equipment to ensure it was not vulnerable to fraud. The audit is expected to last until March.
In January, Arizona Republicans voted to censure 3 prominent party leaders, including Governor Doug Ducey, Sidney McCain, and former Senator Jeff Flake. Flake found himself at odds with state Republicans after taking a stance against Donald Trump and endorsing Joe Biden for president. We spoke with Flake earlier today about the growing rift within the party and his opinions on the upcoming impeachment trial.
The party itself doesn't seem to know what we believe in anymore. The fact that the Republican Party didn't even bother to put together a platform at the last convention and basically said, whatever the president says the party is or what we believe, that's what we believe. That's not a good place for the Republican Party. The House did impeach, and the Senate, their job is now to try the president. And if I were a senator, I would vote to convict, given what evidence I've seen so far. I'm looking forward to hearing what the president's defenders have to say. But I do believe that he incited a riot and should be held accountable.
Flake went on to say he wasn't sure the Senate impeachment trial would end in a conviction, but he called for the end of, quote, cult of personality in Trumpism and bipartisanship. You can watch the full interview with Jeff Flake at azpbs.org.
President Biden spent part of yesterday with Republicans trying to negotiate a bipartisan deal on COVID relief. The 2 sides are still billions of dollars apart, which could force Democratic lawmakers to act without Republican support. Right now, Republicans want to scale back Biden's $1.9 trillion package to $618 billion. This could decrease Biden's proposed stimulus checks by 1/3 and would lower the president's unemployment payments from $400 until September to $300 through June. It would also cut Biden's $350 billion request for state and local aid and eliminate the $15 minimum wage increase from the plan. But Senate Democrats are working quickly to pass coronavirus relief measures which they can do if it's a 5-1 vote. Here in Arizona, COVID-19 infections appear to be leveling off last week when officials confirmed that a variant of the virus first found in the United Kingdom had been found in the state. Not good news, but experts say things could be worse, as Jake Holter reports from our Washington bureau.
There are at least 3 known cases of the UK variant of COVID-19 in Arizona, and the Arizona Department of Health Services is closely monitoring it.
So we are carefully watching the variants. We have been working with partners that have been doing sequencing around the variants of the virus. We do know that that variant appears to be easier to transmit, which could lead to a surge in cases.
It's one of at least 3 variants of the virus, including the one from South Africa. Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, says this evolution of COVID-19 was not unexpected.
If the virus replicates enough, namely when there's a lot of infection in the community and in the world, you get mutations that do impact the virus's function.
Fauci says those mutations can make the virus more transmissible, more dangerous, or even resistant to antibodies and vaccines.
One was first noticed in the UK, and it's a different lineage referred to as B117. That increased the transmissibility of the virus. And just recently, the British colleagues have said that it actually increases somewhat the seriousness of the infection.
But he says the UK variant is less concerning than the South African mutation. And for Arizona, at least, the timing of the UK variant's appearance could help fight the spread.
If this new variant had become dominant in early January, it would have been an utter disaster because we were already headed on the upslope, and it would have made things even worse.
But Humble, the director of the Arizona Public Health Association, is cautiously optimistic.
Now we're headed on a slight downslope, and so we're in a better position to tolerate the new strain a little bit than we were, say, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Dr. Christ, speaking at the opening of Arizona's second state-run vaccination site yesterday, said the variant also appeared after the development of effective vaccines, which could help in the fight.
That's one of the reasons we are so focused on getting the vaccine out as quickly to as many people as we can.
In the meantime, Christ repeated the all-too-familiar defenses against the virus: wear a mask, physically distance, and stay home when sick. In Washington, Jake Holter, Cronkite News.
As of today, the state has administered more than 700,000 doses of the COVID vaccine, but overall cases and deaths continue to climb, with more than 765,000 cases of COVID-19 and 13,362 deaths so far in Arizona. Coming up next on Cronkite News, the Phoenix City Council is deciding how to use federal funds to help the homeless during the pandemic. When we come back, we'll take a look at the controversy surrounding adding more shelter beds. Don't go away.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Everyone has secrets. Are you protecting someone?
I have no choice.
You do have a choice. You're looking at him.
That's amazing. We could be standing on top of a T-Rex right now. Women demanded new space and pushed the boundaries of what being a lady means.
These and other shows are available with Passport. Become a member of this PBS station, sign in, and start streaming today.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Hey, I'm Rick Steves. You know, I don't go anywhere without my passport. And now, thanks to PBS Passport, you can travel with me and watch all 10 seasons of Rick Steves Europe and all my travel specials. This exclusive streaming service is just for our members. Not only can you see all my shows, but you can see thousands of hours of your favorite public television shows. Become a member today and get your passport.
A Phoenix organization wants to expand its service to people who are homeless by adding dozens of beds. But it's not clear whether the Phoenix City Council will approve of the controversial request. Andre's house provides basic services in downtown Phoenix to people in need, from clothing to showers to food for people who are homeless. Now, they want to expand to overnight shelter. Leaders will ask the Phoenix City Council on Wednesday for a special permit to add hundreds of beds. Some are opposed to the idea, but consultant Ash Us believes it's a stepping stone to improving lives.
We really need to make sure that we're thinking about people who don't have housing, and we need to center them. And I'm expecting a lot of people to show up and to weigh in, and there'll be people who are opposed to it. But we have 20,000 petition signatures, right? Like, there's not just a handful of us who want this to happen. There are people who have never cared about homelessness who are now following this. So I'm excited and I'm optimistic.
The Phoenix City Council will discuss the Andre House request for a permit at its online council meeting, which starts tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. After last year's Tokyo Olympic Games were canceling, people were wondering about the fate of the 2021 Games. Well, as of now, the International Olympic Committee remains confident that the Games will go on in July. But they say regardless of what the COVID situation looks like in Japan later this year, the Games will most likely be played without fans in attendance to ensure the safety of everyone.
I'm Serena Raboyne, and I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report after the break, including a story about how GCU is pushing the boundaries by letting hundreds of basketball fans cheer on their home team while ensuring COVID safety measures are in place.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Every day I wake up, my first thought is, how can I serve this community?
The biggest hurdle was not taking PTSD personally.
Would you welcome, please, the amazing.
Everybody that watches this, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
Welcome back. I'm Serena Raboyne with your Cronkite Sports Report. The countdown is on. The Waste Management Phoenix Open starts this Thursday. Webb Simpson, the defending champion, is excited to be back after recovering from coronavirus. Believe it or not, he says he's going to miss the crowd at 16.
I love when they go after the caddies and they start saying specific things about the caddies and their life. It's kind of like, you know, the students at Duke University in the basketball games. It just provides some humor. You know, you want to enjoy that moment. I remember my first couple of years here, I would be so nervous. I just want to get through it and get to 17. But then I just got to a point where I kind of laughed and enjoyed it.
Diana Taurasi said today that she's in a serious relationship with the Phoenix Mercury. It's a good thing she put a ring on it 3 times. Taurasi it's not the 3 championships she won in Phoenix, nor the 9 All-Star appearances that made her return to the Mercury. The 38-year-old says one of the reasons she stays so loyal is the fans.
These are people we've known for decades now that have been coming to the games for, since day one. I mean, there's an inherent relationship between the organization, the franchise, and the community. And I don't know if you see that everywhere else in the country in different sports.
While college basketball is back in play, the fan experience is mostly remote, except at GCU, where reporter Jordan Spurgeon found the student section is rocking.
GCU is allowing 900 on-campus students to attend home basketball games, which is an increase from the original 250 they allowed during the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the arena fill up a little more as the year's gone along. So this is the most we've had this year, and we've had a really good response, and it's been a really great way for the students to have a fun environment to come and just party with the Havocs.
The decision to increase capacity to 13% was made because the number of active on-campus COVID cases is less than 1% of the on-campus student population.
We're really excited, and as well as what he said about, the students have done a great job about, following all the protocols, so this is even possible.
The home court advantage at GCU Arena is unlike any other in Arizona. The fans can come out and have a great time, and the team can feed off the energy that the fans provide.
It felt like a college basketball game. I know it's so cliche to say, but just so many games you watch on TV or you're in just don't feel like, a true basketball game. And that's as close to normal as I've seen or felt in a college basketball game all season.
With the team in first place, GCU fans and students have a lot to be excited about. In Phoenix, Jordan Spurgeon, Cronkite News.
Speaking of things for basketball fans to cheer about, Devin Booker amazed everyone with his game-winning shot against the Dallas Mavericks last night. Twitter was buzzing with the last-second shot, just 1.5 seconds left in the game, but Devin's hit so many game winners, it doesn't even faze him anymore. That's it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Karina.